Hey, welcome to this week's episode of Topical English Vocabulary with Teacher Tiffani. In this week's episode, I want to teach you 5 English vocabulary words about the topic of world history. Now remember, these vocabulary words are coming directly from my daily English vocabulary email newsletter, a free email newsletter that is sent out every day from Sunday to Friday and includes 5 new vocabulary words every single day related to a specific topic. And the goal of the vocabulary newsletter is to help you improve your vocabulary, to help you speak English fluently. So today, on this day, I'm going to help you with the words that came out in the newsletter. So you can follow along, but if you want to join the email newsletter and get new words every day from Sunday to Friday, go to www.dailyenglishvocabulary.com. Again, www.dailyenglishvocabulary.com. All right, so let's jump right in. Again, our topic for today is world history. So the very first word I want to teach you is civilization. But world history, before we dive into civilization, world history is an important topic for you to understand because we live in a world that is very global. Let me explain this to you. I'm in America and you are in your country. Maybe you're in Brazil, maybe you're in Spain, maybe you're in another country throughout Africa, Ghana, or something of that nature, but you're still able to hear me. We are living in a time where we can learn from each other. We can interact with each other, whether it be via a podcast, whether it be on YouTube, wherever it might be. That means that we are learning about each other, and world history is a topic that will most likely come up in a conversation that you have with someone else in English. I want you to be prepared for that conversation. So I want to give you 5 vocabulary words about this topic that will help you speak fluently and with confidence about world history. And once again, the very first vocabulary word for today is civilization. Very good. Again, after me, civilization. Excellent. A longer word, but it really has a simple meaning. So, civilization, it just means the stage of human development and organization marked by the creation and advancement of complex societies. Civilization. In other words, we are a very technologically advanced society. In America, wherever country you are, in a country in Asia, in a country, let's say Brazil, let's say again, I love Brazilians. That's why I keep mentioning them. I love you too, wherever you're from. But my Brazilian students know that I love them too. But wherever you live right now, there's some technological advancement that has helped your society move forward. We're living in a time where civilizations are really going to the next step. So again, civilization, the stage of human development and organization marked by the creation and advancement of complex societies, very complex societies, right? Here's the first example sentence. Ancient Mesopotamia is believed to be one of the earliest cradles of civilization. The earliest cradles, they had many advancements in their society as well. Next, we read about the Indus Valley civilization, which flourished around 2500 BCE, right? Civilization, again, complex societies. And the third example sentence, the Mayan civilization left behind amazing architectural and cultural structures. We're talking about the very first vocabulary word, civilization. Civilization. Now, I want to remind you as well, if you want to practice what you're learning, again, my goal for this year is to help you get to your goal, right? Your English goal. So actually in the app, English with Tiffani app on your phone, you can download it for free. Every day I have practice lessons that go along with the English lesson. So even today, the lesson I'm teaching you right now about world history, after you listen to this lesson or watch it if you're on YouTube, you can actually go to your phone, your app, and practice what you've learned, all right? I want you to be able to master these words, to feel comfortable with them so that you can start using them in real life. So again, the very first word is civilization. Excellent. All right, let's move on to the second word. The second word is revolution. Good. Again, after me. Revolution. Excellent. All right. Now, this word revolution, it just means a sudden, radical, or complete change, often referring to political or social upheaval. A revolution, a huge change, a shake in what is normally done. We say revolution. Are you ready for a revolution? It's funny. There was a song when I was in high school, a song by a Christian artist named Kirk Franklin. And the song was, do you want a revolution? Whoop, whoop. Hey, do you want a revolution? Whoop, whoop. Now, for those watching, I'm dancing a little bit, but it was talking about, do you want to shake things up? Are you ready to be a radical person for change? Revolution. And maybe in your own country in the past, you guys had a revolution that's a part of your history. All right. We're talking about world history, and revolutions have occurred depending on what country you live in. So let's check out the first example sentence. The French Revolution had a huge impact on Europe. Second, the Industrial Revolution transformed many societies. Again, revolution means to completely change or a sudden radical change. And third, the Cuban Revolution led to the establishment of a government made or based on socialism. Once again, the Cuban Revolution led to the establishment of a government based on socialism. So again, you see French, industrial, and Cuban. There are many different revolutions that have happened in our history, world history. So when this topic comes up, you want to be able to speak confidently, very intelligently about this subject. All right, this topic. Here we go. So the very first one, civilization. Second vocabulary word, revolution. Let's move to the third vocabulary word. The third vocabulary word, excuse me. The third vocabulary word is colonization. Good. Colonization. Good. Colonization just means the process of establishing settlements in a new territory, often involving the control or dominance of the indigenous population. I'm going to say this one more time. The process of establishing settlements in a new territory, often involving the control or dominance of the indigenous population. So remember, we're talking about world history, and world history is not always pleasant to talk about, right? So think about one country coming to another country and literally killing people and taking over their land and building homes, building different buildings that will be used for companies or things of that nature. Colonization. And we know it has happened quite a few times in world history, right? And maybe it happened to your country, right? So in English, we say colonization. So when you're speaking about world history, this is a word that you need to know and understand. Here is the first example sentence. European powers engaged in extensive colonization in the past. This is definitely a fact. One more time. European powers engaged in extensive colonization in the past. Next, the colonization of America. That's right, the country I live in. The colonization of America resulted in the displacement and marginalization of Native American populations. Right? Now, again, my people, I'm African American. You know the history of African Americans. We were brought here as slaves, a totally different conversation. But when the people came to America, Native Americans were already living here, but their land was taken from them. Colonization, right? Again, this is why this topic of world history is so important for you to be able to express yourself about this topic. You need to have the vocabulary words, all right? Here's the third example sentence using the word colonization. The British colonization of India had widespread economic and political consequences. The British colonization of India had widespread economic and political consequences. So once again, the third vocabulary word, the third English vocabulary word that you need to know, understand, and be able to use when this topic of world history comes up is colonization. You got it? Excellent. All right, so we've learned 3 words so far. Again, what was the first word? Yes, civilization. Excellent. Second? Yes, revolution. And the third word? Colonization. Excellent. Let's move on to the 4th English vocabulary word about this topic, world history. The 4th vocabulary word is imperialism. Yeah, it can be a little tricky, but I want to make sure you can pronounce it properly. After me again, imperialism. Excellent. We're going to do it one last time after me. Imperialism. Excellent. Now, this word just refers to a policy or practice of extending a nation's power and influence through territorial acquisition or economic dominance. One more time. A policy or practice of extending a nation's power and influence through territorial acquisition or economic dominance. Let me explain this to you like this. A few months ago, Netflix came out with, I think, the 5th season of The Crown, a very popular series on Netflix about the Crown, the Crown in England. That's right. Queen Elizabeth and her family and everything that has happened with their dynasty, I'll say. And part of the series revealed how they would go to other countries in Africa, other countries in India, and all of a sudden have dominance, economic dominance. They would acquire certain pieces of land. This was an example of imperialism. Again, you're extending your power and influence through territorial acquisition, buying land, being in charge or taking land, and having economic dominance. You've given money to this country, so they have to listen to what you say. This is imperialism. It kind of makes sense now, right? So we see that again, European powers have done this for years. All right, here we go. Here's the first example sentence. The scramble for Africa was a period of intense European imperialism in the latter part of the 19th century. What I was just telling you about. Next, the teacher told the students how important it was for them to understand imperialism. And finally, imperialism played an important role in shaping global power dynamics in the past. Once again, English vocabulary word number 4 about the topic of world history is imperialism. All right, so again, we have 4 words so far. The first word, yes, civilization. The second word, revolution. The third word, colonization. And the fourth word, imperialism. Excellent. Now, we're going to move on to the 5th vocabulary word about this topic, world history. Here's the word, nationalism. Good. Again, after me, nationalism. Excellent. Now, this word nationalism, it just refers to a strong sense of loyalty and devotion to one's own nation or ethnic group, often accompanied by the belief in its superiority. Once again, a strong sense of loyalty, loyal to my country. I love my country, devoted to your nation or your ethnic group, right? Often accompanied by the belief in its superiority. Loving your nation, loving your people is totally okay, but nationalism has this one other aspect. I love my nation and we're better than everyone else. Not all the time, but sometimes it's accompanied by this belief that this group, my group, is better than somebody else. In English, we call this nationalism. Remember, we're talking about world history, and this is a term directly connected to world history. So let's check out some example sentences. Here we go for this word nationalism. The rise of nationalism in the 19th century contributed to the formation of new sovereign states in Europe. Second, nationalism can have many good and bad effects on societies. And finally, the concept of self-determination is closely associated with nationalism. You got it? Excellent. So again, number 5, nationalism. Now, we learned again 5 English vocabulary words connected to the term world history, connected to the topic world history. Once again, the very first one, civilization. The second one, revolution. The third one, colonization. The fourth one, imperialism. And the fifth one, nationalism. Now, what I want us to do, I want you to listen very closely as I read a paragraph to you that includes each of these 5 words. Now that you understand the meanings of these words, when you listen, you'll be able to comprehend what is being said in this paragraph. And this will help you be able to use them in real life later on. Here we go. From the birth of advanced societies to major societal changes, the history of the world is filled with stories of exploration, conquest, and cultural pride. Ancient Mesopotamia and the Indus Valley saw the rise of impressive city-states, while the Mayan civilization left behind remarkable architectural marvels. Revolutions like the French and industrial transformed nations, while colonization and imperialism shaped global dynamics. The strong sense of loyalty and devotion to one's nation, known as nationalism, played an important role in the formation of independent states. These interconnected themes reveal the triumphs and challenges of humanity throughout history. You caught it, didn't you? 5 English vocabulary words related to the topic of world history. You know the meanings, you know how they're used in real life, and now you've heard a paragraph that used each of these words. I want you to move forward knowing that you will be able to speak about this topic of world history confidently and also like a native English speaker. I'll talk to you next time.